Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, and it is that time of year. The next Call of Duty game is starting to get revealed. The hype train is starting to leave the station, and I'm sure you guys have heard about this, but at the NFL Draft, they're actually allowing some of the rookies at the NFL Draft to play Modern Warfare 2022 early. Here are going to be some screenshots of that. We don't have any actual footage or anything like that, but we do have all these different Call of Duty partners coming out to say that they've played the game early. They're saying that it's fire. They're saying that it's awesome. They're saying that it's super realistic. Take all that with a grain of salt, I would say. I mean, people get excited to play a new game early, and when you see things behind closed doors and you see what the development studio wants you to see, it's definitely them putting their best foot forward in terms of what the game is actually going to be. So, I mean, it could be great. It could be fantastic. We don't know. Just take every opinion right now with a grain of salt. I mean, that's how it goes this time of year, I suppose. But it's definitely pretty cool as the game is starting to get revealed, and we're actually going to be seeing footage of it pretty soon, and then the alpha is going to be coming out, and the beta is going to be coming out. But it's time for Activision to realize their mistakes. In my previous video, I discussed possibly some of the biggest news ever in the Call of Duty franchise, which is that going from 2021 into 2022, Call of Duty lost 50 million players. 1/3 of its active player base left in this past year, and that's insane. And don't get me wrong, 100 million active players is still a ton of players, right? Call of Duty is still doing pretty well compared to other games out there, but you can't say that losing 33%, 1/3 of your player base, 50 million people used to play here, now it's a ghost town, man. They moved on. That's a problem. Activision realizes it, Microsoft realizes it. What caused this? What made so many people, 50 million people, walk away from the franchise? And how can they avoid those same mistakes going into Modern Warfare 2022? There's definitely a lot to unpack here. There really is. But I'll say one of the biggest culprits, and you guys mentioned it a lot in the comments of my last video, and I meant to do it in a video here today, and skill-based matchmaking. That's what it really comes down to. They had this idea, and they failed miserably. And the idea was cater to the casual player, cater to the person that barely plays COD, cater to that person that knows really nothing about COD, and try to bring in that very casual player base. Because as much as I hate to say it, there's always going to be way more of them than there are of us. And by us, I mean, like, you know, the super dedicated COD fan, the COD fan that's been around for 15 years, the COD fan that's like seen the franchise through all the highs and lows and is still sticking around. You know, we're a dying breed, you and I, viewer listening to this video. We're a dying breed, I would say, but there's not very many of us left. I feel as though the vast majority of the old school COD fans have moved on from the franchise at one point or another. Some people left during Modern Warfare 2 even. Some people left back during Black Ops 2. Some people left during the jetpack era and the supply drop era. Some people left when they remastered Modern Warfare Remastered. They came back for that and they're like, you know, I'm done. You know, some people left this year with Vanguard because of how bad it was. You know, people leave at different times for different reasons, but I do feel as though the old school COD fan, like the old school traditional Call of Duty player, is a dying breed. It really is. And it's not necessarily because we're burnt out in the franchise or we're tired of the franchise. It's because the franchise has taken deliberate steps to cater the game away from players like us. They're trying to get in this whole new target audience. They're basically saying, you know what, we'd rather have these new guys because these new guys don't really know what they're doing. They have a lot of disposable income. We see them blowing money on other games all the time. So we're going to try and bring in that casual audience, right? We're going to basically do an entire audience shift. And at first, I think it worked. With Modern Warfare 2019, I think it worked initially. They had a whole bunch of people coming back because of the modern theme and the fact that it was kind of like COD 4 and Modern Warfare 3. It gave you those fuzzy feelings from back in the day, but they also designed the game from the ground up to be catered to casual players with safe space map design and a time to kill that is so ridiculously fast, every gun in the game's kind of overpowered, and all the other things they did with Modern Warfare 2019. And then in Black Ops Cold War, they did kind of the same thing, but they dialed it back a little bit. And then with Vanguard, it's kind of more of the same. And I think what they've realized is over the course of the past 3 years, yes, they brought back a number of players from Modern Warfare. They realize a lot of the old school COD fans don't like that kind of gameplay, especially making it so you can't silence your footsteps outside of a field upgrade. Like, what? Makes no sense. And I think they also realized that the average player, like the super casual player, isn't going to stick around. That's why they're casual players, right? They're the kind of people that they may buy the game when it's on discount, put, I don't know, 24, 48 hours into it casually over the course of a year, not buy anything else, and then just be done with it. You know, the casual player is not an invested player. The invested players are the people that have been playing for like 15 years. You know what I mean? And I feel as though when Modern Warfare 2019 came out, they had a big influx of those returning players and those new players. But over time, the games and the quality of the games did not make either of them stick around, because the games were catered towards the casual fans, which pushed away the hardcore fans. And the casual fans are just casual fans. They don't actually care. They're not super dedicated anymore. And over the course of the past 3 years, Call of Duty has been bleeding players with this new system, right? With this new implementation of skill-based matchmaking to protect the lower bracket of like bad players and to really punish the dedicated good players. I mean, dude, think about skill-based matchmaking and how it works. Like, imagine if skill-based matchmaking were applied to like other things in life. Imagine if the more you went to the gym, the heavier everything in the world got. Like, imagine, like, you know, you go to the gym, you work out, you're getting strong, you're looking good, but you don't actually look good anymore. You get no physical gains or anything like that. You can lift more, but simultaneously, everything else in the world is also now heavier. Like, imagine if that's how the entire world worked. That's what skill-based matchmaking essentially is. And I will say, if I can find the old clip, I will try to put it here. If not, there's a clip from Exclusive Ace. He did some, like, reverse boosting thing back in Black Ops Cold War to test out the skill-based matchmaking and give like accurate numbers for it. And in the clip, like, those players were like, I don't want to be mean, those players need some sort of protected bracket. We'll say that. Like, I get like the super worst of the worst of the worst. Maybe they should have a protected bracket because they clearly, they're not gonna have fun otherwise. I get that. But for your normal player, they don't need to be in a bracket like that. Like, what made Call of Duty fun back in the day was, you know, you started playing the game. Typically, you were pretty doo-doo at it. Then you started getting better, and then you realize you're getting better. You watch that KD stat go up and up and up incrementally over time, and you go from that player who was getting destroyed by kill streaks to being that player calling in the kill streaks, that player doing the spawn trapping, that player unlocking those camos and having fun. And that's all kind of just gone by the wayside in recent Call of Duty titles, if you really think about it. I mean, what is the incentive to get better in this game? You get punished for being better, you know, and even just being an average decent player that's trying to do challenges. Like, if you're someone, this sounds like self-serving, but if you're someone like me who's got pretty above average stats in every single COD game, and you're just trying to get atomic camo by laying and getting prone long shots with like light machine guns and stuff like that, meanwhile every person on the other team is only using STG MP40 scuff jumping around corners playing like it's the MLG finals, that's a pain in the ass. I'm like, I can't even do camo challenges because I'm too good of a player, apparently. You know, it just, the whole idea of like brackets and skill-based matchmaking and manipulating the matchmaking itself and making it engagement optimized matchmaking where, you know, if you're starting to do a little bit bad, they'll throw you a bone with an easy lobby. Like, it makes it feel like you're just like a stupid person. Like, you feel insulted. It feels like it's insulting your intelligence with a matchmaking system like this, because when you do well, you don't feel accomplished. You're like, well, the game wanted me to do well, you know, this particular match, and now I'm going to struggle. Like, you can actually watch, there's patterns here if you track your stats. You know, if you do really bad, it's because the game kind of wanted you to do bad that game. If you do really good, it's kind of because the game wanted you to do good that game. It's because they can track so many different things. They track everything from your kills to your deaths to your accuracy to even, there are systems in place to track how you navigate the map and how often you sprint and where you sprint and like what kind of like head glitches and windows you take and what positions you take up on the map. Like, it's actually insane. We've seen these patents years ago. They were revealed, and I feel as though it's finally coming to, you know, it's coming full circle here, where people are realizing what the matchmaking is like in Call of Duty these days. You look at the fact that Call of Duty's releasing with less content than before. This year was kind of different with 16 maps, but they're releasing super buggy. They're releasing with not a lot of content, not a lot of balance, and it doesn't get a lot of updates. So you have this game that's like in a pretty bad state, and you're kind of just left waiting for it to get better. And meanwhile, while you're supposed to be enjoying the game, it's hard to do that because of skill-based matchmaking. You know, and why is skill-based matchmaking there? It's there to protect the new players, and the new players don't actually give a shit because they're leaving. You know, they lost 50 million people this year, for crying out loud, going full circle. I feel like I'm kind of rambling at this point, but there's so much to unpack here. Like, I could literally sit here and talk for like 3 hours on this topic. It's just something I'm so passionate about, and it's something that we've all been talking about for the past couple of years. Man, like, you lose 1/3 of your player base. 50 million players in 1 year. I think it's time to take stock. I think it's time to take a look at what they're doing, and it's time to just do a complete 180, because that's not growth at all. What they're doing right now is not helping the franchise. It's not growing the franchise. And I've said it before, but Warzone has been the cash cow for such a long time that multiplayer kind of feels like a front to push people into Warzone. Well, it's time to stop that as well. Like Warzone itself, sure, that's great, and I'm sure it makes up a huge number of the average monthly players that they're talking about as compared to just normal traditional Call of Duty multiplayer. But taking the opposite approach seems like a really good idea in my opinion. Make the multiplayers of each individual games ridiculously fun, ridiculously packed full of content, and ridiculously interesting, because people are going to enjoy that content. And that's also, mind you, the content they're paying $60+ a year for, whereas Warzone's free. You know, it's kind of a no-brainer there. They're kind of banking on microtransactions. Make it so every time a COD comes out, it's fantastic. People love it. They get super invested in the characters, in the story, and the maps, and the guns, and everything else. And then eventually those players are going to want to take that content and push it into Warzone, as compared to just enjoying Warzone and then pretending multiplayer doesn't exist. Like, they kind of like this backwards approach, in my own personal opinion. And yeah, I mean, like I said in the previous video, the numbers speak for themselves. I think skill-based matchmaking is a massive culprit in them losing 50 million players, because they're catering their game 100% to those like super casual fans, and those casual fans don't care. You know, they don't actually care at all. This is just a game they casually pick up every now and then, play a little bit, and then they hop off. They don't buy anything in the game. They bought the game itself, probably at a discounted price, play it for 48 hours, and they're done over the course of an entire year. You know, and it turns out it's not very sustainable to cater the game towards those people who don't actually give a shit. It's more sustainable, and this is kind of like what the entire Call of Duty franchise was built upon. The backbone of the franchise all of these years was always catering to actual COD fans, catering to the people that are already there, and then bringing new fans on who want to be part of that. And I hope that's what they have planned for Modern Warfare 2022. Although I sincerely doubt that's going to happen. I don't know, man. We've been burned by Activision before, and they're starting to reveal Modern Warfare 2022, and I truly hope that it's not anything like Modern Warfare 2019 in terms of like catering the game to the super casual player, catering the game, dare I say, to the bad player, leveling the playing field, so much so with like good players versus bad players, and then also leveling the playing field even more with skill-based matchmaking in unranked public games. Like, so many problems, so many issues. It creates a no fun environment, essentially, for everybody. So we'll have to see how things are going to play out long term. But right now, you know, the semi long term, like the effects of this are taking place. 50 million players gone, 1/3 of COD's player base just out the window. And how are they going to bring those players back? Are they going to double down? Are they going to say, you know what, forget those guys, we're bringing in more casuals? Or are they going to take COD back to its roots, so to speak, which we've heard before, but will they actually do it this time? I'm interested to see how that's going to play out. But ladies and gentlemen, that is all for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave your thoughts and feedback down there in the comments. Thank you all so much for listening, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful day.